Regardless of what Bob Huggins might have said in his post-game press conference, West Virginia is officially the last place team in the Big 12 Conference. Mountaineer Paul and I are here, and we're going to talk about it. What is up, college hoops fans and West Virginia fans? This is Couz.
And my name is Mountaineer Paul.
And we present to you
Hoops from the Hills.
What is going on, everybody? Mountaineer Paul and Couz back with you again, back for another episode of Hoops from the Hills. We're here today to recap West Virginia's 1-point loss to the Oklahoma Sooners, the 77-76 loss in Norman that should have been a win for the Mountaineers, in my opinion. We're here to recap that game. We've had 24 hours of sleep on it and kind of think about yesterday's events, listen to Bob Huggins' post-game press conference remarks, listen to Trey Mitchell's remarks, and we're going to talk about all of that. Paul, what's your initial thoughts, man, about yesterday's contest?
This team just isn't the same team we saw the first 10 games of the year. You know, they became that team for maybe 5 or 6 minutes of the total game yesterday, but they just can't. And apparently there are some reasons. And now there had been some turmoil, obviously, with Coach Harrison and that situation that was happening behind closed doors. We didn't know about that. And now we hear about some players that may not have been feeling very good, or one specific player that may not have been feeling very good is a really key player. Obviously, these can seem like excuses, but if they are true, would have a great impact on the overall play of the team and chemistry of the team. And so I don't know, you know, and not only that, but the person that's figured out the lineups for years now for the team is no longer doing that. And so whoever is in charge of doing that, even Coach Huggins, is going to have to adjust to that, right? So there's an adjustment to all of it. They are close. It's, you know, it's not like we're getting beaten extremely bad or anything in any of these games. It's almost like you saw the game yesterday, and it seemed like anytime there was a chance to go ahead at the free throw line, it just couldn't happen. It was almost like there was a lid on the rim. Yeah. I've never seen anything like it. I sat here in disbelief, honestly, at how many opportunities they had to either tie or go ahead. And I kept thinking to myself, this has to be mental, because what else could it be at this point? It's not overall talent. What is it?
Yeah, it's got to be mental, man. I mean, they shot 50% from the floor, but they were like I'm trying to remember what the stat was. I think they missed 4 in a row or something down the stretch. Yeah, that's what it was. They were 8 out of 12, and in the last couple minutes of the game, they missed 4 in a row.
Trey Mitchell missed 2, and Jimmy Bell missed 2, correct?
Yep. And no, Joe Toussaint. Joe Toussaint missed 2.
Joe Toussaint missed 2.
Yep. And those 2 that Joe missed would have put him in the lead, and Trey, one of the ones Trey missed would have put him in the lead. Correct. So it's and West Virginia never led in the game. I mean, just 2 of those free throws had to went in, they win this game. And, you know, they were 8 of 16 for the game, 50%, which is not going to get it done in Big 12 play. Over the last 5 games, which is their Big 12 games, they have missed more free throws than any team in all of Division I basketball. There's over 300 teams in Division I basketball. That's how bad the free throw shooting has been. Now, and we all know that's what lost the game yesterday. I mean, they played good enough to win that game in every single category. I mean, let's just look. I'm going to pull up the stats and share them with the audience real quick. But, I mean, they played good enough to win as a team. I mean, you look, you've got field goals. West Virginia shot 56.4%, Oklahoma 55.6%. We outshot them from the floor. Three-point range, we were 46.2, they were 45. Yeah, they made 3 more than we did. but still 46% is a good percentage. Then you look at the free
There's the
throws,
difference.
18 and 8.
There's the difference.
They beat us by 10 points on the free throw line, man. 10 points.
Yep.
Rebounding, now they out-rebound us too. That's not a good thing.
Look at that percentage on free throws.
I know, 50%, man. 50.
That's Shaquille. That's worse than Shaquille O'Neal shot in his career.
I know. And these are not, and like Bob Huggins mentioned, or I think it was Bob, which, he was optimistic for the most part in his post-game presser, but, it's not like, the first couple games, you had people like Jimmy Bell and, some of your worst shooters getting to the line. Well, these last couple games, it's been guys like Joe Toussaint. It's been guys like Trey Mitchell. It's guys that are shooting over 70, 80% from the line on the year. But they're missing them when it matters. That's what's hurting.
Yep.
They actually shot the ball pretty well from the line in the first half. It was the second half where they struggled, but that's when they needed them the most. They're missing shots in key moments.
And free throws. Oh, sorry, Couz.
That's right. I was just going to go back down the list. But assists 14-8 in favor of Oklahoma. Steals 4-3 in favor of West Virginia. Blocks 2-0 West Virginia. Total turnovers. Oklahoma turned the ball over 14 times. West Virginia only turned it over 5 times. I mean, we won the turnover battle. That's huge. And as you see, West Virginia never led in the game. But, I mean.
Fouls are pretty close.
Yeah, the fouls were close. But back to free throws again, man. They've got to get it cleaned up. And people – I got on Twitter yesterday and was kind of emotional and tweeted out a few things I probably shouldn't have tweeted, but about Bob Huggins and things like that. But at the end of the day, Bob Huggins is not the one missing free throws, man. I mean, he can make these guys shoot shots at practice all they want. But number one, they've got to actually do it, and whether they do or not, I don't know, because he can't stay with them the whole time. He's only allowed to be with them so many hours a week, so he leaves it up to the team managers to rebound for them as they shoot. He makes them shoot. He makes each player make 100 shots before they leave the gym every day, and or makes the team make 100 shots. Maybe I'm not sure if it's the team or each individual player, but nonetheless, they have to make 100 free throws before they leave the gym. Not shoot 100, but make 100. And you think if they do that, they'd be shooting better. But that's why, back to what you said earlier, I think it's all mental. They get in these pressure situations, and for whatever reason, they're getting in their own head. And then now that they're in a slump, I think the slump's in their head now. So it's making them they're feeling even more pressure to make them. What are your thoughts to that?
Absolutely. That's what I was going to say just a minute ago, actually. I played basketball my entire life. I don't care what level you're talking about. I played varsity basketball from my freshman to my senior year. There is some pressure involved even at that level. And I was a good free throw shooter, actually the best on my team. And I was there were situations where my coach called me off to the bench to shoot free throws during technical situations and things like that. And I had a coach that was a lot like Hugs. He would pull you. I never knew if I was going to get pulled or not, no matter how I played. It was a really hard way to actually play. It really actually affected me a lot. But it's not about me. But the point is at the free throw line, it was mental for me. And I've talked to other people, and free throw shooting is not something that you need a lot of talent for. It's a lot of repetition, yes. Can be a lot of muscle memory, but more than anything, it's just mental, because a lot of times there's usually something at stake when you go to the line. It's not like in the first half when these guys are going to the line. No, these were in the last moments of the game, so there's pressure. Plus, let's say in Trey Mitchell's case, you just saw Joe Toussaint miss 2 right before you come up there. Now the pressure doubles back onto you. And that's what seems like it's happening. It's like somebody that's screwed up their golf swing, or somebody that's screwed up their swing with the bat. Same kind of deal. And I feel like that's what's happening as a whole, as a team for these guys, outside of the guys that naturally struggle from the line.
Yeah, right. And they missed 2 technical free throws in the first half. I mean, Trey Mitchell, he sent Trey Mitchell line to shoot technicals. Missed them both.
I didn't agree with him going to the line, but that's another story, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look in past history, Eric Stevenson is your best free throw shooter. because he only missed one free throw his entire season at South Carolina last year. But if you look statistically this year, Trey's one of your better shooters, but Eric hasn't shot that many free throws. So, if you only shoot 8 and miss 2 of them, obviously it's going to hurt your percentage. And I don't know if he shot 8. I'm just using numbers that are easy math here.
Yeah.
I don't know how many he's actually shot. But the point is, he's got a smaller sample size. But still, I think overall, he's your best free throw shooter. But that segues right into what I want to talk about next, and that's the fact Eric Stevenson apparently has been under the weather. He actually spent a couple days in the hospital this past week, apparently, with some kind of health issue, upper respiratory issue or something. So
wild.
Obviously, he was not himself health-wise, and I felt guilty after finding that out because I had, said I didn't say anything nasty about him, but I was kind of, saying he needs to be benched and stuff like that on Twitter because of how he's been playing. But heck, he's probably not felt very well. So, I kind of made me feel guilty for saying that. But that's why we shouldn't tweet out of emotion until we know the whole story.
I feel really bad for Eric today, man. I saw hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people saying things. I didn't say anything, but I wanted to. I just didn't.
Now I want to go into what Bob Huggins had to say in his post-game press conference. He was very optimistic, believe it or not. I was actually shocked at how optimistic he was. What are your thoughts about Huggins' optimism in the post-game presser?
I don't know how to take it because it's so not him. Here's the thing. This team has played very well at times this year. And how did he react in those press conferences? Negative, right? A lot of the time. So I think this is just his tactic, one of his tactics. He feels like the team needs a positive boost right now, not a kick in the tail, right? So even when the team's playing well, that's most coaches. Even Coach Brown will do this. Pretty hesitant to give credit. Always something to be worked on. But the team is so down right now, losing 5 in a row will hurt anybody. So I think he's using the media for one to motivate the players. 2, I do think he believes this to an extent. I do. He has to believe it. I think he knows that he may not be as secure in his job as he thinks he is with Ren Baker, sitting right behind him, monitoring him. Obviously, was for sure what he was doing, watching a great coach, or somebody who's supposed to be a great coach. Probably trying to figure out if this guy is on his last legs, those kind of things. So it's hard to say, but it was definitely something I haven't seen him do very much. It was something that caught me off guard. It really was.
Yeah.
But Coach Hugs seemed really confident in what he said, and he's given me no reason not to believe him. And I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, at least for this year, to fix it. Even though we've had going on 2 in a row, let's see what he does.
Yeah. He said the team's going to go on a run. He said that they're really, really close. And he said that basically they've fixed everything but the free throw shooting. He said, we worked on the ball over a lot. We fixed that. Now all we have to do is fix our free throw shooting and we'll be fine. And 2, he also talked about how the team has been through some adversity with, obviously with, the Larry deal. He said the Jose thing. There's been a lot. And you look back, I was actually reading an article. I think it was on the I think it was written by maybe Mike Kazaza or Chris Anderson. I think it was Mike Kazaza. Was talking about, you look at what these teams went through this year. You had the Jose Perez denial, okay? You had Keedy Johnson get injured. You had, before Keedy got injured, you had that whole big thing with the flu going through the team, right? You had 2 or 3 guys with the flu. You had
we did.
Then you had Keedy get injured or get a concussion. Then you had you had a couple close losses in conference play to start the conference play. Then you had the Jose thing again. Then you had your assistant coach get fired just out of the blue. Then you get Eric in the hospital sick. This team has dealt with a lot of crap. Eric had a deal too. He wasn't able to go home and see his family for Christmas because he got stuck at the airport.
Yeah, he did
in Chicago. So
in Chicago,
all the and these are human beings. We know we look at them as fans. We look at them and that's nothing but basketball players. But we got to take into
Like
account the human
robots.
beings. Yes, they're not robots, man. They have lives. They have stuff going on in their families. They have personal problems. They have illnesses, and we don't know what these guys are dealing with. And that's one reason why we as fans shouldn't get on Twitter and blast them because
Agreed.
we don't know what they're dealing with in their life, man. I mean, if we deal with something in our life that's really, really big or really important, you don't think it's going to affect how we perform our job? It has to, right? Because they say leave your personal life at home, but it's I don't know about you, but for me, it's impossible.
It can spill out,
Yeah,
and vice versa.
But you look at what this team's faced, and I'm not giving them a pass. I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but
just being logical.
But if they can get all that crap behind them now and just focus on what's at hand, and that's playing games, maybe they can turn around. Maybe they can go on a run here and still squeeze into the NCAA tournament. They're probably not going to get a high seed at this point, unless they make a big long run.
Not unless they win out. Yeah,
or win the Big 12 tournament, maybe something like that. Which I honestly, God, think they're capable of doing. I think they are talented enough to win the Big 12 tournament, but they've got to start. They've got to start stringing.
Do me a favor, Couz. Pull up the schedule. Do you mind to pull up the schedule? Let's look at it and see what we can see. I'd like to just have a look and see what's winnable, what we think. Maybe just go on record and see what we think is winnable, what we think.
Obviously, that's the games we've already played. When you look ahead, we have TCU coming up at home,
red hot
on Wednesday. 17th ranked TCU, who just blasted Kansas State at home.
They did.
Then you've got
Miles, just a real
10th ranked Texas at home. At Texas Tech, who we should be able to beat now, but it's at it's at Lubbock, and Lubbock's one of the hardest places to play in the league. So it's going to be a tough one. Yeah. Then you've got the SEC Challenge game against Auburn, who's 21st in the country. Right. West Virginia historically has not done well in that game. Tuesday, the 31st, they go to TCU. Then they're at Oklahoma or at home against Oklahoma on the 4th. I'm actually going to that game, believe it or not.
Nice.
Wednesday, February 8th, they're at home against Iowa State. Then they travel to Texas, to Baylor, at home against Texas Tech, at home against Oklahoma State. Then they go to Kansas, to Iowa State, and finish out the season at home against Kansas State before they get into Big 12 tournament play.
So, can we look at the next 5 games, Couz? What do you think about the next 5?
Well,
bookended with TCU.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No, it's not good. I mean, you really we shouldn't be favored in any of those games technically. Maybe Texas Tech, but
Texas Tech is the only team that's playing as bad as we are.
Yeah, we're not going to be. We might be favored in one game. Maybe they might favor us. I don't even know if they'll favor us against TCU now that we've lost 5 in a row.
Probably not.
I mean, they had us favored to beat Kansas at home, which I thought was odd. At least ESPN did. But we ended up. You saw how that game went.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's not good. We could. It's very possible if this team doesn't fix their issues, they could end up being 0-10 by the end of this stretch here. They could start February 0-10 in conference. Well, 0-9 in conference play plus the game against Auburn.
And what happened last year?
Something similar.
Yeah.
I think they won a couple games in conference early on last year, and then they started their losing streak. But
I don't know.
They had 2 7-game losing streaks in conference last year.
Yeah. I don't know if Coach Huggins can survive that with Ren Baker.
Well, and that
I really don't.
I don't know. Here's my thoughts, and that back to Bob Huggins again. He looked extremely tired. Number one, in his press conference that he did the day before the game, he made a comment to somebody in the media that he hadn't slept in 3 days. This Larry Harrison thing he and Larry Harrison go back 24 years, man. Like we talked about on that show about that issue. They had to weigh on him.
Sure.
They're in danger of having his second consecutive losing season, which has Uggs ever had 2 losing seasons in a row in his career? I don't know. I don't know
Not
that he
like
has.
this. Not like this in this
And he's
fashion.
he made a comment the other day that kind of made my ears perk up. He said he doesn't like what college has become, and he doesn't know if he wants to be a part of it, or something. I'm paraphrasing, but he doesn't like the game the way it's evolving. He doesn't, he has accepted the transfer portal and stuff and embraced it, but I don't think he likes it
Yeah.
necessarily. I don't think he likes NIL.
Right.
I just don't think Huggins likes the sport the way it is today, and it just makes me
Acceptance
wonder.
is not agreement.
Right. It just makes me wonder. He might decide he's had enough at the end of the day. I mean, my understanding is he owns a house in Florida or a condo or something in Florida now. Why in the world? I mean, I understand he loves it, but Bob Huggins does not want to go out this way, man. And he wants to go out on his own terms, I would think. So it wouldn't surprise me a bit to see him walk away. If they don't turn this season around and get in the NCAA tournament, it wouldn't surprise me a bit to see him walk away before they fire him, honestly. Before they have a chance to fire him. Because I just don't know if he wants to continue in this sport the way it is today. With all the
I
transfer.
know there are some people that say that if this season goes like it has, there are some people I know that are closer to the situation that say that it's very likely that Huggins would risk even the future of the program to win next year if it goes this way again. In other words, paying for players. It's what some people have speculated. Now, I don't have any knowledge of that,
Yeah,
but I've heard people say that he would be that obsessive over it that he would
I
do
don't think he
whatever it
would,
took.
because he specifically made a comment the other night that he said, "I'll never cheat to do it." He said, "I'll never cheat to win." So I don't.
Why
I
is he
just
saying that out loud?
because it was in his comment about the way the game's going. Basically, he said he's been saying for years that there are some teams out there who do that, and he
Right.
won't. He refuses,
And there are.
and he refuses to go down that road. I don't think that was his point. Was look, I'm not going to get into those. If that's what it's going to take to win, I'm not going to do it. And that's why I think he would walk away. If he sees that's what it's going to take to win, I think he'll step away. I really do. I just don't see him. I know he wants to win really, really bad here, but he's also. I do think Huggins is a man of integrity, and I just don't see him. I just don't see him going down that road, man. I really don't. Maybe I'm
Just
wrong,
imagine what
but
you could. You know what? I don't know enough about that to know, but I think it's probably your situation's more likely to play out than mine. But I could also see it going the other way. Him, hell or high water, wanting to win next year. Maybe not cheating to do it, but he's the best fundraiser in West Virginia University history, right? So
pretty much, yeah.
nobody can raise money like Bob Huggins, and so he'll figure it. I just think he'll figure it out if he's given the time. I don't care what people think or say. You can talk about his age. You can talk about his coaching style. Um, I know that there's a 5-star guy that is heavily invested into this program right now, and very well could be on the roster next year. So I don't
Malik,
know. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think that's his name. I hope I got his name right. But no,
Close enough.
I know Hugs has said multiple times he doesn't want to leave the program like this. But at some point, if he's not able to fix it, he may not have a
Yeah.
choice. And Ren Becker was sitting front and center right behind the scores table in that game, watching every move Hugs and his staff made. He said he was going to evaluate everything. He's evaluating it right there front and center.
Yeah.
Now, it probably doesn't hurt that he's from Oklahoma. It probably gave him a chance to get close to home, maybe even see his family. But
Right.
who hadn't moved to Morgantown yet, but still, he didn't have to sit right there at the courtside either.
Right.
And based on the whole Larry Harrison situation, I've got some suspicions there of what happened too. I think there are reasons he's watching really close what's happening. We know there's been arguments amongst coaches and things like that going on. So he's there right there monitoring. Hey, what's this program look like right now up close? How are players and coaches interacting together? How are coaches interacting with coaches? How are players interacting with each other? Uh, he wants to know all that stuff. I mean, he told us that in interviews. All that's important, and he may do the same thing this football season. Who knows? But obviously, basketball is first, so that's one he's got to focus on. But right now, I mean, but anyway, I would hate to see Bob Huggins. If Bob Huggins leaves, I want to see him do it on his own terms. I'd love to see him go out a winner, whether that's a deep run in the tournament. I'd love for it to be a national championship. Obviously, I don't think it's in the cards. I really don't.
Well,
I really don't.
I don't know. I don't. What, for Bob Huggins or for West Virginia?
Well, but either West Virginia under Bob Huggins, yeah. For Bob Huggins,
I'm not ready to go there yet. I have too much invested in my heart to do that. So,
well, I mean, I'd love it. Obviously, I'd probably.
I'm not convinced.
I'd
I'm
cry
not
tears of
convinced
joy.
yet
I know
either.
that, but I'm just trying to be.
Yeah.
I just in my heart of hearts, I just don't see it happening. I think I've become so pessimistic over the years from watching West Virginia lose so
listen,
many games and watching my Buffalo Bills
have
drop 4 straight Super Bowls, and I'm just so friggin' my fandom is shot. my hope is shot.
It's our fandom, all of ours. I don't know if everybody loves them as much as we do, but probably we're definitely in the upper 0.5%. I don't even think we're in the upper 1%. I think we're even above that, as far as how obsessive we are, but
right.
Everybody has their own reason for loving West Virginia. Mine just happens to be that I was born and raised there. My dad, that's no longer with us, was the only bond that we ever had, and I'll cherish that for the rest of my life.
Right.
Yeah, so probably why I take the losses so hard is because so did he, and we love him.
That's right, man. One thing I do want to talk about though is one thing in Huggins' presser that I was a little actually disappointed in that he said is he kept saying they put us in this situation, meaning the NCAA with the transfer portal, NIL, and all this stuff. He kept saying they put us in this situation to have to bring a bunch of guys together that had never played together. And I feel like that was a little bit of excuse making because every team in the country is dealing with that. And other teams have found a way to make it work. And he did say they would figure it out, but he should have already figured it out. That's, you know what I mean? That's what's so aggravating is it seems like West Virginia sports in general is not navigating the transfer portal and the NIL as good as other schools are. And which is one reason I think Ren Baker may have been brought in as AD, to be honest with you, is because of their failures in that department. And on paper, it looks like West Virginia went out and got some really good players, and I think they did individually, but for whatever reason, they're just not gelling as a team the way or as quickly as they need to. And
right,
I don't know the reason for it, but he's going to have to figure it out quick, or they're not going to make the tournament again.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts about those comments?
I don't know, man. I think maybe excuse making is one way to look at it. I think he's just bitter about it too, but certainly it can't be the reason that we're not winning. It is something that everybody has gone through. I think one thing about if you'll notice, guys around the country, whether that's Jim Boeheim, Bob Huggins, Rick Pitino, all these older guys, Pitino doesn't really have to deal with it at Iona as much as Hugs or Boeheim, but I think it's a lot harder for guys like them to navigate because you're talking about, in some cases, a 50-year habit doing the same thing year in and year out. As to where a guy like Eric Musselman, let's say, who's been coaching for 15 to 16 years and is still in the prime of his life physically, I think those things matter.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think Coach Huggins he's always been a developer. So you're asking a guy that's always been a developer over the course of 2 to 3 to 4 years to now do it in one. And so, not everybody. Calipari's the guy that has always brought in a bunch of freshmen, been able to put them together right now and have them play in national championship games. So this is nothing. This is old hat to him, even though their team is struggling a little bit this year. In general, guys like Calipari that have always, the one and dones, the freshmen of Mike Krzyzewski, they're more used to this. This isn't something Huggins has ever had to do. So this is really the first full year of having to do it. So while I do believe that it's still not an excuse for the team not to win, I still understand why he's upset about it and why it's taken such an adjustment for him.
Yeah,
He's been doing it for 40-something years.
Yeah, it's a great example, and that's one of the reasons Roy Williams retired. I mean, he said it straight up. I didn't like the way the game was going. I didn't like the new age of NIL transfer portal. So he stepped away, and I really think at the end of the day, within the next 1 to 2 years, now Bob Huggins' contract, my understanding is his contract is up after next season, after the 23-24 season, and he and Ren Baker have to agree on a new contract before May 1st of this year. So we may know, if he doesn't get an extension on May 1st of this year, that might tell us something. So keep your eyes out here in the next 4 to 5 months. We'll probably know one way or the other the plans for Bob Huggins' future, whether he plans to step away or not. That's the way I look at it. I think we'll know something within the next 6 months, probably.
One thing that would worry me is if Ren Baker were to get rid of Hugs, and he still wanted to coach, somebody would hire him. Obviously. I wonder who. I don't know who it would be, but somebody would.
Yeah, I don't.
And I'd be afraid of seeing him again.
Yeah, I would too. I just don't see it. I mean, I don't see that happening. I really don't. I'm sure Ren Baker knew what he was getting into.
He would, if he fired him, I don't know if they would survive. I don't know how fans would react.
Yeah, I'm not saying Ren Baker wouldn't do it.
I think,
but I mean, maybe he would. I don't know, but
certainly he would give him a chance to retire instead. You would think.
I think so. And I think he deserves, even if they don't make. I made a statement on Twitter yesterday on some guy that did a poll, and I answered it that if they don't win the NCAA tournament this season, he should retire. But after making that comment, I stepped up back and I think he should work. I think he should go out and coach out his contract and then retire. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
If they don't make a run this year and they don't make the tournament, coach out your one more year, see if you can get it done in 23-24, and then retire and go enjoy your. He'll be 70 years old. Go enjoy the rest of your life at your condo at the beach or wherever, man. Just enjoy.
I'm not gonna lie. I'd be really excited to see what would happen if he was able to pull in the 5-star Maluk and Jose Perez to start next year. Ooh.
Oh, absolutely.
I'd be so excited.
It'd be cool. Wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be cool if he rode off into the sunset with a national championship?
It would be it'd be something I would give anything to see.
Oh, dude, it'd be great. Well, listen, man, I don't really have anything else. Anything else you want to talk about?
No.
Sounds good. Well, listen, guys, we appreciate you tuning into this episode. We ask that you please like the video for us. Please drop a comment below. Let us know what you think about West Virginia sitting at 0-5 in conference play. What do you think about the future of Bob Huggins? Are you one of those people that think Huggins needs to go? Are you one of those people that think he still deserves a couple more years to fix it? We want to hear your thoughts. So please subscribe. Please subscribe to the channel, guys. Try to get us to that 1,000 mark. We have a long way to go. But go check out our other channels, Mountaineer Paul Talks Football, Couz's Corner, where we cover West Virginia and Big 12 football. With that being said, guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Hoops from the Hills, and we're out.